Nation of Fit 10, welcome to day 47. Just past the 2/3 mark. Third round of scans start tomorrow. So hopefully you've booked your scan. If you have not, go to calendly.com/trainonmain or reach out to me through Slack. Also, when you come in for your scan, do not drink coffee beforehand. Get rid of any metals on your body. This includes metals in your clothing. Try to wear light clothing. Use the washroom before you come in. You can drink water. You can have a little bit to eat. That's not really going to make that much of a difference. I know in the past I've said, don't do that. Through more and more testing, it doesn't seem to make a difference. But definitely use the washroom. Don't drink caffeine. Definitely don't drink alcohol. You're not supposed to be drinking alcohol through this challenge, by the way. No caffeine within 12 hours, and certainly no alcohol within 24 hours. And if you can, don't work out the day before your scan. But listen, I understand we're in this challenge and we're pretty much working out every day. So we just do our best. Okay? We know there's always going to be an element of error. It's not even an element of error per se. This is actually not error. There's always going to be a level of, the best way for me to put this is, our bodies are always going through change. Okay, so it just measures what it sees. So you might have more muscle glycogen, you may have less, just depending on what you've done or what other factors in your life have changed that will affect that. So just keep that in mind, okay? It's just a snapshot in time. And there's always going to be some variability with that. And I'm not talking about error here. I'm not talking about error with the machine. I'm talking about just general variability. Things are going to go up and down. Okay, yesterday talked about a little bit about weights. It's a huge topic and I'm trying to cram it all into a couple videos. So I'm just trying to touch upon some of the, what I consider to be the most important points. Yesterday, I talked about high reps. Why not high reps for fat loss? Doing higher reps, we're going to expend more energy, wouldn't we? Hard to say because it's a mixture of intensity, or let's think of this as force production. When we demand force, right now, if I demand force, I need more force to jump out of my chair than I do to get up out of my chair. So if we demand more force by lifting heavy weights, that's going to utilize more energy. But what about if I do less weight, but I go longer? So maybe per unit of time, every second I'm not burning as much energy, but I'm going for minutes on end with weights. How about that for fat burning? Well, this is where I like to keep it more simple and just say, yeah, maybe depending on what we're comparing here and depending on intensities, and depending on the amount of time that we're doing both activities. So in this case, we're talking heavy weights versus, let's say, light weights, minutes and minutes on end of lifting weights. It's very possible that you would burn more energy doing those lighter weights, but we're not going to have the same effect on the muscle tissue or the nervous system for that matter, or our supportive structures like bone and tendons and ligaments, etc. So those are sort of two different things. So yeah, you're lifting weights, but in terms of the way it's being performed or in terms of how your body is being exposed are totally different. The activity might be the same, but the way that we are doing it is totally different. And this has bearing on our musculature and other tissues like I mentioned, and other systems like our nervous system, our hormonal system too. And if you go light enough, yes, you're going to build more muscular endurance, and yes, you are going to build more endurance specific for that task or tasks that mimic the type of movement that you're doing. Okay, so this will have crossover perhaps into other movements. So what's an example? An example might be, let's use something basic here, grip strength. So if you're carrying around weights in your hands for 10 minutes, you're going to be building up some muscular endurance in those forearms, and this might have carryover for, let's say, scaling a mountainside. okay, if you're a mountain climber or something. I'm just using this as an example. When it comes to body composition, where weights, training with heavier weights differ from all other different forms of exercise that you do is the potential, and I say potential because you've got to be working at a certain intensity or higher, really. Where the difference lies here is the effect on the muscle tissue. And this has a bearing on building up the muscle, the musculature of the body. And the only way we can do this is through heavier weights. Now, that being said, it's all relative. So if you are like my mom, I love my mom to death, but she's not weight training right now, and she hasn't for quite some time, for a number of years. So my mom's not being exposed to any kind of resistance. So maybe if she just does like some yoga, she'll get stronger, which is true because she's not being exposed to anything. So some level of resistance is going to make a difference. But when we're talking about really making a difference in our musculature, our bone density, our other structures that help keep us together, that help keep us strong, like ligaments and tendons, we need to be lifting heavy weights. We need to develop the musculature beyond a very minimal point. And the way to do this is via progressive overload or some level of overload. It doesn't necessarily have to be more weight, but there needs to be, as I mentioned yesterday, a sweet spot in terms of time and load applied to the muscle. The only way we can get this is via resistance training, and more specifically, training at that intensity, that certain intensity with weights. You can't develop this any other way. There's many ways to burn energy, many ways, and this will help to keep your body weight down. Okay, this will help to burn energy. This will help to burn through fat, for sure. I'm not disputing that. But when it comes to the other side of this, the investment side, the making the body more energy efficient, the making the body more stronger, the improving your bone density, we've got to apply the heavier load. We've got to be doing heavy resistance-based training, and ultimately we want to expose the entire body to this. For at least in large part, the entire musculature of the body. Okay, 7 minutes. Maybe I'll talk more about this tomorrow. Message of the day: those who remain focused win. It's not about who's most talented. Talent does matter, of course. It's not about who's the most genetically gifted. That will matter as well. It's those who remain steadfast in what they are out to achieve, that they don't give up, they remain consistent, they keep forging ahead. Those are the most, for lack of better words, we're going to call them the most dangerous people, because they will inevitably succeed. So I'm going to remind you, you got to keep pushing forward. You've got to remain steadfast. Those who remain focused succeed. That's what I mean by win. Those who remain focused win. They get what they want. They get what they're after. Positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, and for the love of God, give some gratitude, and I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. See you guys.